is not necessarily for you, but
no, that would be the split screen, by the way. Four new members.
Well, one of the most controversial, high-profile bills that came out of last year was authored by one of your members, Steve McKinnon, allowing Steve Ballmer and his Intuit Dome, Steve Ballmer is a billionaire, to be the only location in California to stay open until 4 a.m. to allow 100 people, the highest purchasers at that dome, to right? Until 4 a.m. It's the only place in California where it can be done. And all of you, except for Dr. Weber, voted for that. And so that passed. And then at the end of session, the reparations bills fell apart.
Are these two different questions? Should I answer the first one?
It's a split screen, but the question is, like, how do you expect Black Californians, reparations advocates,
To talk about the Intuit Dome?
shepherd these things through? But these are constant bill reintroductions,
I'm
but
just-
you're still supporting.
Is this two questions?
I'm asking you.
Are we getting to a question?
How do you expect Californians to trust you to get reparations through? I mean, all of these things are reintroductions.
So are we talking about a 4 a.m. drinking at the Intuit Dome, or
I mean, both.
Assemblymember McKenna is not here today? You're welcome to talk to her. You're welcome to talk to her at any time about that. Appreciate your coverage last year on that and many other issues.
The reparations folks saw that pass and saw the governor sign it right after.
Are there any questions about this package before we go to session?
Wait just a minute. I'm sorry. Excuse me. We are entertaining questions about our reparations package this year. The bill that you're referring to was not a part of the California Legislative Black Caucus reparations package last year. That was an individual member's bill. We all have our own individual members' bills. We all have to not only represent Black Californians, but we also have to represent the communities in which we come from, our individual districts, whether it's Senate or Assembly. So are there any questions about this current package?
Welcome once again to the Beatzilla PDX official show. I am your host, Beatzilla PDX officially, and this is the midweek report, news break edition. And so that means that this is a tape delayed broadcast, and normally I go off camera for these, but not today. So today we are on camera. It still is a tape delayed broadcast. So if you are watching right now, make sure you hit a thumbs up on that's liking this video. Share this out on your social media if you would. Also, if you are watching on X, make sure you come on over here to the Beatzilla PDX official YouTube channel and subscribe over here on X. I'm sorry, subscribe over here on YouTube if you're watching on X. And, you know, you can also, of course, follow on Instagram and all of the other platforms if you want to get notifications for these videos. But the best thing to do is to hit that notification bell, hit that word all. That way you'll be notified anytime this channel goes live or a video is uploaded or premieres. Of course, you can support this channel by becoming a member. That would give you the badge, and also you would see the premieres before they air for everybody on this channel. And of course, other members only videos and content there. So peace, power, blessings, and protection be upon each and every one of the members of this channel. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. And thank everybody for tuning in as well. Black First. Now, talking about FBA, the real FBA History Month, and just going through some things. This is Black History Month, which would be Black American History Month, representing and highlighting the contributions of our lineage here in this country. And also from time to time, there's also been known to highlight those who, and of course that is a small number, but those who have also came and aligned themselves with our agenda and our plight and fight here in America from around other islands, or may even be Africa or Europe. There have been people that to kind of step in there from time to time, but overwhelmingly it is about our culture here. So although people always love to bring up Stokely Carmichael did not come here promoting Caribbean culture. He came here assimilating into foundational Black American culture. That's where you learn to fight. Not on a colonized island, but here where people who have been oppressed actually actively still fight the system of white supremacy, which we already can say it's not a lot of others that do. So with that being said, I wanted to chime in on this because now since November 5th has came and went, and that's November 5th, 2024, came and went. Changing of the administrations has taken place. And now we have Donald Trump, who they did everything about fear-mongering while he was running. And they still miserably lost. Well, you have a lot of Democrats not understanding exactly, obviously, or grasping, or maybe they're just in flat-out denial about why they lost. But it's very interesting to watch how people whose income relies on the ignorance of that 92% or that 88%, they have to rely on the fact that these people really are not politically astute. See, what happens is you'll hear the Jasmine Crockett's come out here and say that those of us who didn't support the Democrats, we're the uneducated politically. But we're the ones engaged in politics actively on a daily basis. So it can't be us that is uneducated. That's not the case. However, the case of uneducated people politically who hang on the words of people from their Greek sororities or fraternities, and they come down and tell you what the Democrats want, because see, these people, this brand of Black is really blue, and they get around Black folks talking about one party representing Black people, and that's just not the case. Black America's interest is not party based, and that is a huge problem that we have had in Black America over the years. our situation needs to be separated. We are like everyone else. They don't sit up here and tie everybody into any other group. When it comes down to us, all of a sudden it's for everybody. And we're tired of that. And we don't want Black people getting out here talking for us and talking against this truth, because we do not want anyone else lumped in with our plight or our group. It's bad enough we hear this lie and insult that America was built by immigrants. America comes here and like the one dude that's in the Congressional Black Caucus, that Hispanic kid. He up here talking about when people see the Statue of Liberty, the Statue of Liberty represents immigration. No, sir, it does not. That is absolutely not the reason for the commission of that statue. And I think the reality of that, which some of us learned in school, we're going to learn tonight. We got to go back to real foundational Black American history. And we're going to start with the Statue of Liberty, because everybody comes here and says they see that big statue when we're coming to Ellis Island. And we need to make sure everybody remembers, because this has gotten lost in all of these years with all of these people so proud to hit our shores and looking at Lady Liberty. Always remember, had it not been for Black Americans being free, that statue would not be there. We are the reason for that statue. It is a commemorative monument to our freedom. America doing the right thing by freeing enslaved human beings. It's not an international diaspora conversation. It's not at all. It's all about one group. And that group's history is being recognized this month, the month of February, here in America, and they do it abroad. And as things have fell apart with the Democratic agenda, other people are trying to step up to the plate to further it. Although their politician buddies have left, shut out the lights, and cleaned off the stage. Well, there's one place where the stage stays fixed from Sunday to Sunday. And Black History Month had a celebration at the White House. Some of them took it upon themselves to have a cutout picture of Jamal Bryant. Fake womanizing adulterous pastor Jamal Bryant, who is now all of a sudden trying to come out as some kind of major advocate for the Black agenda, which is, he's full of crap. You know what's so funny? An African Methodist Episcopal, let me say this to you, because you bore this guy. He got a chance to get propelled from the AMEs because his father, my former bishop, John Bryant, is, you know, that's the nepotism there, and he's gotten on and his career has gotten popping. He took over young man devour the late Eddie Long's church. So we already know that there was a lot of people that will accept and promote and practice ungodly behaviors in the church and then promote it as it's right. Here's something else that this guy has done. He apologized to the gay community for the Black church. One thing he didn't do, though, is apologize to Black men and the Black community, and who also, which ended up being our sisters. Because again, remember, it was primarily focusing on Black men, Black male youth. Subsequently, the byproduct is the women. So you got black men, black women. These black women, a lot of them, especially in the dealing with the crime bill and the drug laws of the 90s, all of those people have children, male and female. You got 2 rocks, you might be doing 18 years separated from your kids. Your kids will be adults picking you up from prison when your service to the state, thanks to a bill authored by staunch segregationist Klan sympathizer Strom Thurmond and co-writer of said bill, co-writer, meaning they wrote this together. You know Strom Thurmond hated black folks. Who's the other person that wrote that bill? Oh, Joe Biden. And now we have people like Jasmine Crockett's coming out here saying, we were better off with Sleepy Joe. We were better off with anti-black racist Joe. Because no one ever gets around to that. I don't want to hear about no Central Park. I don't want to hear about a bunch of kids in cages being separated from their families because they came here illegally. This man and this administration, the Clinton administration, absolutely destroyed the black community through law and used the black church and black leaders to co-sign it. The black church has been guilty for devouring and shunning its own for the last 30 years for this system of supremacy. All because it came under the guise of a blue donkey. Well, in the end of the day, all that we can ever really say is the black church, you have successfully made asses out of all of you.
For me all week, you've been nervous all week, but I ain't afraid of the spooks that sat at the door. These runaway slaves hiding in the White House gonna throw my picture up thinking that I'm gonna be afraid.
If the slave master is in the big house, how would runaway slaves make sense to run to the big house? Everybody's so hyped, they ain't even paying attention to the reference he's making. Runaway slaves are those who said, I'm not going to serve on this plantation any longer. So is it that these runaway slaves, if they're in the White House, then that must mean you believe that they were supposed to be on the Democrat plantation. And by that tone or logic, they would have been seeking refuge, aka asylum. But again, these are conservatives. They were already conservatives. They were already representing for that side. Why now do they become off different and they're runaway slaves? And here's the thing. To me, I don't want to hear about division. I want to hear about division from the people who told you if you didn't vote for this white person or this Indian person, that you can't come to family dinner. If you're not going to vote for the Democrats, you need to get out of my house. These are things that church people were talking. And the Democrats and all of these other people who talk about divisiveness. And yet here we are. With the black church being so proud, high, and mighty on itself, railing against, those aren't white people, folks. Those are other black people who just simply have a different need than this group. Why are they being vilified for that? This is a Black History celebration. So what were they supposed to do? Not show? The one thing, see, here's this thing that okay. Oh, here's the thing. Biden could have did this. He could have did a big spectacle. When they do things, though, it's always to slight foundational Black Americans promoting immigrants in place of us, just like they did with the Hip Hop 50 at Kamala Harris's house. So again, let's start entering in and then call us divisive when we say, no, this solely belongs to us. And then as it comes down to when you got foundational Black Americans on two different sides politically, it's okay. Your hatred is now permitted because they didn't vote the way you thought they should vote. And this is the church. The church is supposed to be separate and set apart. But they are taking and adopting and owning the world. Let's hear more from captain of the 2/3, one of the captains of the 2/3 club, Jamal Bryant.
If you got real courage, don't show my picture. Show the picture of the one that fired the Black Joint Chief of Staffs from the military. If you gonna...
No, they don't need to, because they're there celebrating the person. They're there celebrating that administration because their efforts in supporting their candidate paid off and they won. So when putting your picture up there, because you were bootlicked for the other side. So this is bootlick on bootlick babble. He's upset that these people went out there, and not everybody in that room is bootlicks now. A lot of these people are turned from the Democrats to the Republicans by way of the Democrats' benign neglect. But nothing's being said about that. Oh, this heavy breathing. Jeez. And he's, hey man, if we all the same age, all of this fake preaching madness, the fact that y'all just up under this dude is amazing to me. What's the difference between him and any cat that got multiple babies' mamas anywhere? What's the difference? There is none. You are getting preached to by a Pookie and a Ray Ray. But because he can articulate, this man's in child support court, meaning being not the responsible father. But yet he's still the man. He's in Atlanta because he had to get run up out of Maryland, right? Ain't that the case? Up there, he got ran out to DMV, right? Now he in Atlanta. Took over and replaced one devil, and now you got another one here sitting here telling you, trying to get you riled up against other black folks. And black folks, you're cheering for this. This is the promotion of the division that you cry about. Why can't we get together? You see this? You are talking about other black people. This is why we have so much disruption in our community. Why? Because you are doing all of this for people outside of our community. And you want people to be angry at their own because they didn't side with the political party you side with that has a consistent policy of benign neglect. And if it wasn't for the Democrats losing because of the black grassroots, well, then they wouldn't be talking anything black right now. They're forced to now. But we are already looking at that as a scam and a sham and a grift.
Show a picture of the CEO of Target, Walmart, McDonald's, and Amazon that does not recognize black dollars or black business. If you gonna put up a...
And there's another thing that they see. Target absolutely recognizes black business. That's why they have black businesses in their stores. They support and undergird the black health care and beauty industry. Not any of these other people that would like to replace those black companies. So remember what you're hearing. These people get money from all of these other groups. They have interests. And they never seem to be supporting black. With all of this boycott talking, you have heard no one tell you to go to Tabitha Brown, go to any of these other businesses, or buy direct from. You've heard nothing other than retract business from black businesses because the Democrats lost. This is what they're pushing. This is coming from a preacher. This isn't prosperity. You guys sit up here now, in this black women's businesses, I guess it's not a problem because, you know, it's for the Democrats. So now screw these black women businesses. Doesn't even matter what kind of political alignment they have. This is so irresponsible and inconsiderate, and it's mismanagement at its finest. Here I can see nothing less than because what they're pushing out there is a false narrative. Black rights, civil rights have not been touched. We are not part of DEI. We're the last on the totem pole. You see all these other groups with these white women and these LGBTQ women coming out here. That's who's getting the money. So DEI is just further helping aid non-foundational black Americans.
Put up a picture of the state legislators in Florida that are banning black books. If you're going to put up a picture, put up the picture of the one who is...
I would rather put up the picture of the people who are fighting the banning of black books. Notice how there is no fight, though. He ain't talking about that part, though.
Stealing classified information from the IRS and Social Security. If you gonna put up a picture, put up...
No. He's not stealing because he's the president. You don't steal information from the IRS.
A picture of those that don't want your mama to pay $35 for insulin and your child to pay $35 for inhaler. If you gonna put up a...
Listen to how all of those people just keep getting hyped and loud and like, this is really something he's saying. It's not. But yeah, man, what he gonna cut Medicare, man? He gonna cut because that's the conversation what he talking about. He got them all riled up, and I want to tell you once again that these people have repeatedly been lying to you. Don't take my word.
The spending bill that passed last night aims to cut $2 trillion.
Right.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. Okay? This will not be read my lips. It won't be read my lips anymore. We're not going to touch it. Now, we are going to look for fraud. I'm sure you're okay with that, like people that shouldn't be on, people that are illegal aliens and others, criminals in many cases. And that's with Social Security. We have a lot of people. You see that immediately when you see people that are 200 years old that are being sent checks for Social Security. Some of them are actually being sent checks. So we're tracing that down, and I have a feeling that Pam is going to do a very good job with that. But you have a lot of fraud. But no, we're not doing anything on this.
So instead of just keeping it solid and keeping the conversation where it really is, because, you know, they have to use the fear tactics. He keeps talking, and if you've heard him, they keep repeating this. You're going to do away with Medicare, and we're going to pay $175,000 for insulin. He just told you again, not touching it. This is not a read my lips thing. You keep asking, and it's getting stupid to keep asking the same question. But even more dumb than that is to get in the pulpit and start telling your congregation something that is not true. And this is a pastor. Trump has repeatedly said he's not touching Medicare. They keep saying, that's Project 25, that's Project 25. Right, but we're in the Trump administration, not Project 2025. He told you he wasn't going to touch it. You keep asking and asking. You could reword the question all you want to. You are not going to get that answer because he's already told you. He told you before he got elected. And again, I'm not caping for the man. What I can't stand right here is having a full house of black folks being lied to. That is not our political position. If you're not going to tell people the truth, then how can they willfully make a decision that benefits their community? Then people, if you don't have the right, truthful, correct information, like this man just lied, how can you now make an educated choice politically? You can't, because you're ingesting fear-mongering tactics and lies hyped up with emotion. But this nigga ain't saying nothing.
Put up a picture of those that are jailing children, separating families. I ain't ever scared.
Put up the picture of people who are jailing kids and separating families. Put up a picture of Joe Biden then. Put up a picture of Barack Obama then. Put up a picture of Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, and I mean, what are you talking about? These people, and look at them elderly folks. All of those people lived through the 80s and 90s. They know what they did to their own community. Oh, they out there in the streets with the pants hanging all down off their butt. I don't know what's wrong with them. All them Pookie and Ray just need to pull their pants up and take care of all them kids. And all of them deadbeat daddies out there, I just don't know what's wrong with them. Okay, but now we ain't never scared. Because I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to preach real tough to you. I ain't scared of nothing. Jamal Bryant is a clown. The fact that y'all sit up here and still fall for this, and no one's doing it again. But this is why I know. This is how we know that this is the last political leg of the Democrats, because all of those people in that church, half of them folks could probably tell you, I'll say, tell me 20 books of the Bible. Because y'all sitting up here like, yeah, Pastor, yes. Okay, well, then you should be able to name me 20 books. I'll be generous and say, okay, I'll knock off 5. Give me 15. Somebody in this room, I mean, look at all the folks in there. Somebody in there should at least know 15 books of the Bible, right? I'm just saying.
In case you forgot, I'm from the west side of Baltimore. If you got a problem, pull up on me.
Ray J, I really, really don't like that you apologized. I'm sorry. And this is why you ain't gonna see a lot of us in the church, because we all around the same age as this dude. There's a reason why cats like this are in the places he's at. Outside of here, where would he flourish? Outside of conning old black women, where would he flourish? He came out, made his apology in Atlanta to gay men. Whoop, done deal. Totally against the word, but he went out and did it. So again, obviously, I get that people are more progressive in this church. That's the word they like to use. But I think for all intents and purposes, for those who know the truth, just call it wicked. Listen to him cheering like they had a real show.
Stokely Carmichael said, our fathers had to run, but my generation is out of breath. We ain't running no more. Yea, though I walk. And after being on the run for 26 years from Saul and Philistines, David said, my running days are over. We don't.
Okay. And I'll stop. You know, it's all of the hype and emotion nonsense for me. But then it's also the cheesy element of it too. You know, it's like, we don't believe you, fella. We can't believe or buy into anything you're talking about, brother. We know you a con man. You a stone cold con man, fella. And when that brother ran up on you out there in Baltimore, we saw that because you got East. Like, see, that's the thing. These dudes try to hit the streets like, yeah, I'm from the west side of Baltimore. Pull up on me. Then when Ray J was talking about smashing you out the pulpit, now that would have been fantastic to see. And I mean, I'll say this with an absolute straight face. That would have been absolutely fantastic to see. Because for me, coming up, you know, dudes like the Jamal Bryants, they don't hang around real dudes. They hang around church dudes. They're not finna press no issue. Because cats like that can't deal with that type of pressure. That's why they're where they're at. And then also dudes like that, they ambitious. Like a Roland Martin. That's why they all go join frets. Like these guys, you got to think these people go to college to join a fraternity because their ambition, but they want them connections by any means. That's why there's something I call corporate gay. And some of these people that you like and you watch out here in entertainmentville, even sometimes in business, there is something that I labeled corporate gay. So for all intents and purposes, these men are straight. However, their associations to propel them where they needed to be comes with a fee. And so you would hear some people, you know, there was a brother that is no longer with us that would often say, I'll do anything to get there. don't think that just was reserved for his platform. No. Because this game is about control. That's why we have the grassroots. And I understand the power of us. A lot of people don't, because they've never taught you that, and you haven't been around in that environment to know. And then some of us are so spread out that we haven't had the opportunity to experience. But I'm from here, Portland, Oregon. We definitely have experienced that. And this is the one thing I'll tell y'all. When they say one or two are gathered in agreement, there's power in the midst. We are a powerful people, especially when we come together and congregate. That's why a lot of people hate the spaces idea, because what goes on in spaces is kind of a one-on-one build session with everybody. Now, granted, I can say, since I haven't been in spaces like that, other than I know Tariq's usually on like every night doing this late night tap in. Maybe random space from Black Alpha here and there. But other than that, there is not anything out there filling that spot of that type of conversation. There are other spaces out there, don't get me wrong, but as far as like setting a tone of like forward progress, no. That's no slight to anybody that is doing spaces, but you're talking about the same conversations. Innovative creations are coming over here from the voices of New Black Media. That's where you're getting the forward progress, because this is where the tone gets set. And we have to recognize that. So another thing with the tone being set, we were the only group to predict how these last 2 election cycles were going to go. So understanding our power, understanding our influence on the world, there is no other group with our moral superiority. No other group that could ever, we are the moral authority. We are king. We are the emperors, shall we say. When it comes down to the moral stance and position, no one can light a candle, hold a candle to foundational Black American freedmen. With that being said, again, I said this is Black History Month, and among other things these churches do, some of them try to soften images. Y'all remember Jeremiah, right? And his church, which they got him out of, has now got a new pastor, replacement pastor, I guess. And this guy at his church, he's also coming out being very political. Now, Trump has signed something very early when he came into office protecting the Christian church. But if you let these folks tell you, they keep coming out talking about how Donald Trump is going to start targeting Black churches. And the reality is Donald Trump might be targeting people who were talking negative against his administration. But he also is talking about people who are taking money to do it. And if you're a pastor doing that, then you are breaking your 501c3 conditions. Now, for Black church to say, okay, well, now you are free to be pro-Black and political. You think we would see that from the Black church in 2025, y'all? Nah, I think we're just going to see more of this.
Say this. It's not written, but the Lord just dropped this in my spirit.
Oh, he did he?
Supposedly.
That was that donkey God that dropped that into his spirit. See, His donkey God just spoke to him and downloaded the Democrat talking point and agenda. So now he needs to come out and let everybody know what the spirit of that donkey is talking about.
Had a Black History celebration at the White House. After the White House had been removing Black history from all types of programs, they had a bunch of quote-unquote social media influencers, most of them under the age of 35, wearing hats.
I'm not certain how old Sharice is. Sharice was, Sharice and JL around the same age. So early 30s, right? Early 30s. He's trying to make it seem like everybody that was in there is just young and stupid and ignorant. They didn't know no better. The sister, Danielle from Flip Chicago Red, and all of them, they there. Judge Joe Brown definitely is not a youngin'. You know, he's trying to delegitimize other Black people because of who they supported. Again, how is this not divisive? And why is this coming from a spiritual leader targeting other Black people?
And whatnot, all excited that they were standing in the East Room in the White House. And there
is not being invited to the White House a big deal or not? It's not a big deal because this isn't the guy that you voted for. Maybe they did. Maybe they did support him. So why is it now an issue? It's like they're making an issue out of a non-issue. If Kamala Harris won, these bootlicks would be up there talking about it's the greatest day in history. And then we'd have to literally choke down the lie for the next 4 years about Kamala being the first Black whatever when she's not Black at all. Glad we don't have to deal with that. Because that was ridiculous. You got Rachel Dolezal, and then you turn around and got you a even closer. And it was like, oh, well, man, let's just go ahead and make it. No, you can't fit that square peg into this round hole. It just don't work. And so we all rejected Kamala Harris being Black because then, of course, Candace Owens doing a thorough job at making sure and proving the things that most of us already believed and brought to the truth that woman ain't Black. Simple as that. I don't know what the problem is. People act like, oh, no, I mean, no, she's just not Black. Period.
They were lobbying the president, shouting, oh, I shouldn't have said that. He's not. But,
yeah, he is the president.
Lobbying, wanting the new FBI director to go after preachers who speak against the administration.
So people advocated that they do something about y'all. I don't have a problem with that. Because if you're not going to be political, don't be political. This is Black History Month, and you're giving so much attention to a man who isn't Black. Donald Trump is not a Black man. It's a Black History Month celebration at the church or at the White House, yes. But here you are throwing dirt on other Black folks celebrating Black History Month. I just don't understand that concept. And I'm sure there'll people be, you don't want to understand it. Supporting either candidate is supporting either candidate. Not supporting either candidate's not supporting either candidate. But if you're invited by the office of President of the United States, regardless of who that is, most people are going to go. Do you guys remember when LSU was disrespected by Jill Biden? And Jill Biden did, instead of over congratulations, she gives a half-handed congratulations to LSU, and then wants Caitlin Clark and Iowa to show up at the White House too. You lost, but we want to celebrate you anyway. And that didn't work out. See that, and then when the other hype turned around and when she went to the WNBA, never forget, folks, this is why people were telling you we're not falling for the hype train. Because when you have from the White House doing this about this image thing and then acting like it's not, then want to keep talking to us like as if, man, we got to go for Joe Biden. You don't think that was a bad move? Yeah, it was a terrible move. Absolutely terrible move. But let's hear some more.
Something must be wrong with you when you want the FBI to come after your own people. But I'm here to let you know, at Trinity United Church of Christ, ain't nobody backing down. We've been doing this since 1961, and we gonna keep doing it every single week because they not like us.
Y'all not like you because you've been doing it this long, but you kicked Jeremiah right to the curb for the political career of Barack Obama. So that is a horrible reference to make. You didn't stand with that man. And we're going to keep doing it. Yeah, that's enough of that bootleg preacher. And so this is what I have to say about those people, those types. They are traitors. And they want to talk black when it promotes and serves a Democrat. Nothing else. I find that to be very reprehensible. But see, things are changing. Things are happening. Even with mainstream media. And that maybe that's the problem that these people are having, is they're having to settle into the reality that they have thoroughly been rejected. And I don't think it's set in just yet until the weekend's announcement that MSNBC was getting rid of Joy Reid, not just moving her show or putting her to a different show, but firing altogether just months after a renegotiation of extension of a contract. So she'll get paid. But at the end of the day, she knows she gets paid to basically go off into the sunset. This is why foundational Black Americans, freedmen, are running the yard. The grassroots, the voices of new Black media, have called our shot. Hashtag New Black Media Matters. Old Black media is simply fire.
Add value. And that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And I think this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment that of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just Black folks, that, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones.
No, stop bringing Nicole Hannah-Jones up. And Nicole Hannah-Jones, if you're watching this broadcast, by the way, I wouldn't mind rapping with you, because I would like to know when they throw, and I guess the political part of it, you got to kind of be careful, but I would just want to know when they bring up that we promoted this, well, then that's the promotion of reparations. Look at what Joy Reid just did. You promoted the 1619 book, but you're not promoting reparations. And here's the other thing I keep talking about. When these books are being banned, what Democrat group is coming out with legislation to battle it? Where is the fight and holding up? We've had many of government shutdowns. So where is the fight to stop this? That's what I want to know.
Put into our spirit that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry.
All of that you're talking about with little babies and all of this, that all of that is summed up in that 1619 time. Mind you, 1619 is not the beginning of slavery. The first ship came here was good ship Jesus. That'd be 1536. 1536 to 34. I believe 36. 1500s. Like my family's been here since 1400s. Some of family, when you do some of the research on your lineage and stuff, you might come across some things that'll tell you to use a reference of the Bible and use family paperwork that is because I don't know what the story or the history is of how some of these families histories have been preserved by like Library of Congress. So there's your ancestors that came here, especially if you have some Moorish ancestors that were here early, then, and mind you, when I say my family, that's on my father's side. So on the other people got here other ways. So like, again, I'm a what they say, amalgamation of foundational Black American. So I think I'm a mixture of the people who were here. I'm a mixture of people who came from the boat. I'm also a mixture of runaway slaves. So it's the maroon blood definitely is in me. That is for certain. It obviously is heavy. I have that on both sides of my family. So that runs through these veins. And it makes sense because, again, like these type of things are something you have within. I can't sit up here and say somebody taught me. That ain't my experience. Like, so a lot of y'all need to, the desire to want to obtain this information that has to come from inside. I don't think anybody can give you that. if you get inspired by someone, I can totally understand that. But this right here, she just went from talking about 1619. That's realistically one group. Then she brings up immigrants and then all of these other groups. But yeah, she's trying to talk about foundational Black Americans while extracting its validity. Yeah. Good riddance, Joy.
That I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And you know, I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
So reparations then would be godly. And she says that now. And she says that she's supporting 1619. Okay.
What I'd like to do is point out that we have to be resistant to efforts from the Russians or anybody else to try to divide and conquer our communities by putting, trolls out there with, negative memes or exploiting divisions that they perceive, like this ADOS versus the diaspora question. Yeah, they're going to be using these kinds of ways to tactically divide us, and we have to be savvy enough to resist them up front.
Yeah, and Mark, that was what you were talking about, right? I mean, you do have this sort of absurd argument, that there's a hierarchy to Africanness or to Blackness that actually puts Africa at the bottom and puts American, that being enslaved in America at the top, and that is a way that you should divide for some reason for a lot of people, Black folks, when that would leave out Marcus Garvey, and it would mean that we were not, Stokely Carmichael and all sorts of people who just consider themselves Black, as we all do because we're in the diaspora together.
You just heard Roland Martin make that argument the other day. Same argument. And they know what they're doing it about. That's why she went ahead and started talking about 1619, and I was there for 1619. Were you really? Now, so Russian disinformation, remember, you talk about reparations, you talk about delineation, you're a Russian bot. Delineation is a good thing. Every other group has their own designation. But for some reason, when you talk about Blackness, we call it foundational Black Americans. You're saying ADOS. Those, one is an organization, one is the title of a lineage. In any event, why couldn't either group or either people who identify with either title, why can't they do that? They are lineage-wise, they are different than everybody else you're talking about. It's ironic when Joy Reid says, because she used to prioritize Africans over Native Black Americans on her show. Wow, let's hear it.
Both my parents were immigrants. My father was from the continent, so I feel like, I need to just be in the room to make sure that our voices are a part of the story and that we're not just sort of, spoken about without our presence being part of it. And also keeping in mind, and this, I think, event makes the point, that, not all Black people are African American. Mm-hmm. My mother was Caribbean, you have Caribbean Americans, you have African Americans, you have people from the continent, and that we all have our own experiences and our own experiences with either enslavement or colonialism, and that hit us all different ways. We just had one team member go on to work for the great Stanley Nelson. She's being replaced by a Black woman who's actually Nigerian in background, who we're moving up into that spot. We're making sure that we never lose the diversity that we have. We would love to have more women from the continent who can be contributors, who can be on the air, and we're always looking. We look everywhere. We have a lot of former people from the griot that are now out there writing. Some of them have moved back to the continent and are writing from there. I stay connected to them. So just build up, I know for me personally, it would be a great thing to have many, many more women from the diaspora that I can draw from.
So you see where her loyalty has always And she already told you she was not prioritizing Native Black Americans, aka foundational Black American freedmen, the descendants of chattel slavery. She wasn't prioritizing us. Of course not. It shows. And so when she had time to prioritize us, it was in opposition. So she did actually prioritize us as an enemy. Yeah, I'm cool on that. Farewell, Joy Reid. Good freaking riddance. Glad she's out the paint. We are so much better off without her around. Great work. Great work. Great work. Okay, now let's see. We're gonna go back and revisit something. Not to revisit something. Where are we at? Okay, here we are. All right, let's revisit this. So, moving on. Next, Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett has put a foot in her mouth and now tried to do some backtracking. I'll play a little bit of that backtrack because she had to go on a 5 minute splaining spree. But I just want to play a little bit of it so you can hear some of the inconsistencies that this actress tries to put in the mix. We keep telling you she's a phony, but we'll just let you see for yourself. But first off, with this elitist mind state of sitting up here talking about how $5,000. That's just some change. What you gonna be able to do with $5,000? That is silly. So real quickly, revisiting.
Now, President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID. That was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again. We had a once in a lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
I can tell you $5,000 would help a lot of people around here because just in our homeless crisis, the same crisis that has been going on as long as the Democrats have had the government or had the borders flooded and our cities flooded, being sanctuary cities and paying and footing the bill for all of these illegal immigrants and aliens and invaders. You know what's going on right now in Portland, Oregon? We're at $100 million shortfall for homeless. But these people, while making sure they fly in illegals and put them in enclaves that they pay for on taxpayer money, they said we got to go ahead and have a war with the homeless. We gonna make sure you're not camping out on the streets. We're gonna tear down your places, but we're not gonna make sure we give you anywhere to stay. But what we are gonna do is outlaw being poor and homeless. And then how did we find out in my city that we had a whole apartment enclave full of illegals? It's because the money was running out and they were in lieu of getting evicted. An entire apartment complex rented out by our local government from these illegal aliens that were flown here. But now we ain't got no money. We ain't in the, we come on, we're not in the habit of just giving away money. Why you think all them people was coming in caravans by the droves? 20 million people came to America. And now that the administrations are rolling over, you starting to see the toll money-wise that it took. Our schools here, 40 million in debt. They're cutting jobs because of irresponsibility, so they say. You can't sit up here and say what we don't see. We're living it. I'm sure you're probably living it in your neck of the woods. Our doctors and nurses have been on one of the longest medical strikes at some of the finest hospitals. This is not no rural joint. You'll get flown here for heart surgery, or you'll get flown here for brain surgery, depending on where you are in the United States. You either be coming here or going to Tennessee. Like this is the highfalutin hospitals. And they still out there striking, not enough support. This administration that just left the office sucked. And Democrat cities have been overran with the foolishness. And so to say that you're not in the habit of taking care of your citizens, but you're most definitely in the habit of wasteless spending and giving money away to people to whom do not put into this society. But let's hear Representative Jasmine Crockett walk back her statement. And again, if y'all believe this woman is from the hood, I got a bridge to sell you.
Hey, I hope y'all can hear me. I know it's late for most of y'all if you are still on East Coast time or Central time, but I just want to go live really quickly because y'all is wearing me out. Like, you know, I better understand why black folk got hoodwinked and got caught up and started saying that Kamala wasn't black enough or she wasn't even black at all and all this kind of stuff.
She's not black, Jasmine. We are not hoodwinked. What's wrong with you? Juju Watkins is a Blendian. Right here on YouTube, A Rich and Jazzy Life. Their kids are Blendians. Look at Jazzy's husband, Rich. He is a Trinidadian Indian because there's a lot of Indians in the Caribbean. Being from Jamaica doesn't mean so. Okay, what about the Trinis from Trinidad, the Indian Trinis, like Cardi B's mom? That's another Blendian. Where the hell do you see Kamala looking like them? And also, hear me ask you this. There's a certain thing that we have in our voices as foundational Black Americans, and even the Puerto Ricans and Islanders. There's a certain something in our voice. Can you say that certain something is in a Kamala Harris? If you listen to Juju Watkins talk, you know what she is. I look at Kamala Harris, there ain't no black woman there. I don't even understand how y'all get there. And we know how this is the problem, Democrats and Jasmine Crockett. We are not bamboozled. We are not duped. We do our homework, and we very serious about this lineage business. So you can't parade nobody around us that ain't black. When black folks are telling you she ain't one of us, she just simply not. And so to keep forcing the lie, like, I don't know how y'all been bamboozled. We weren't. You are. And the truth of the matter is, America wasn't bamboozled because they voted y'all punk asses out.
Because legitimately, another member of Congress sent me a video of a woman who supposedly is a teacher. And I'm saying supposedly because I am hoping to God that this woman is not an educator of our future scholars, because for whatever reason, people don't question when right-wing media puts out things about me. Now, would you think that I'm their bestie, or that I am literally their number one enemy? Or for all of those saying we're the Democrats? And then when people...
No, people are smart enough to recognize when one has been handpicked and chosen, and you're an actress with no real swag. So there's something there. I mean, Jasmine Crockett, this is the new black media over here. This is the grassroots. You're not springing up on us. I think that's the part of this she misses. You think because they're talking about you, we didn't recognize what was happening. And now that white right-wing media absolutely listens to the grassroots, you're getting this bouncing off of the walls and hitting you back in the front and the back. And you want to act like, well, black folks should have my back. This is the false thing they sold you. Can't go against the grain and then turn around and be like, hey, big head, we need you to go ahead and work that Democrat magic. But what you ain't going to do is confuse people over here. The Democrat agenda is a black agenda, because it is not.
People are out there and they're fighting for you, you immediately believe some of the most ridiculous stuff ever. You can go and look at all the videos of me and all the things that I fought for, even my conversations around reparations, and then you're not even questioning. Like, this video kind of ended abruptly. Y'all ain't got no questions. Y'all just like, oh, okay. And legitimately, this ABC interview, it's on YouTube. Like, it's just a matter of like Googling. You can see the entire interview. And if you have an issue with what I said, then that's perfectly fine, because, you know, for now, at least, we live in a free country. But let me tell y'all exactly what I said, since some of y'all are really confused because Elon and his friends decided to put it out there. What I said was, what is $5,000 going to do for you if you don't have a job? That is what I said. That is what I said. Because I can tell you that there's a lot of people that are losing their jobs with the federal government and could care less about a $5,000 check. There's a lot of people that are going to...
Miss Crockett, how on earth did you think with what you just said was better than what you originally are accused of saying? You doubled down thinking you were being sharp and slick. But all you did was reaffirm how out of touch with people you are. When's the last time you've been unemployed? Something that happens when you leave a job. There's severance in a lot of people's cases. You get the severance package. People have retirement, 401k, or purchase plans, or whichever you're doing, right? All of those come into the payoff when you become unemployed. That's a tally of money that you're due being unemployed, being paid out throughout the end of your contract or the end of the job, the end of the year. You're still benefiting. She says, with that, by no means would you give a crap about an extra $5,000. Because if you lose your job, you work for the government. Does that necessarily mean your spouse works for the government? So maybe she's not losing her job and you are. So $10,000. While one partner's laid off, you thought what you just said was a better point. Whew. The Out of Touch Award goes to Representative Jasmine Crockett. You won.
Lose their jobs as it relates to private industry that could care less about a $5,000 check. So what I was saying is, what is $5,000 if you ain't got no job? Because right now we are headed towards a recession. These were my exact words, and you don't have to believe me. Just Google the ABC live interview with me.
No, we got it. And like I said, I didn't need to play all of that because she's going to stick her foot in the mouth right off the rip. Jasmine Crockett. When people are struggling and working to make ends meet and you have $5,000, even if they're losing their job, is quite a Band-Aid. A help to get ahead because they've lost their job. So $5,000 is replacing some income. But, you know, if you're saying, I ain't worth no $9 million, you are certainly sounding like it. Because in the midst of somebody losing their job, you say, oh, they don't want no $5,000. What? I'm going to turn down money because I just lost my job. I don't care about that money. I'm at my job to make money, but you're going to give me some money, but I don't worry about that money. What the hell is wrong with Jasmine Crockett? That is severely out of touch. Gee whiz. Well, no, you know what? Let me give you a little more hard on before we get out of here, because I'm going to move on here. Because this loon, I mean, she is goof troop. And I don't know why they brought her around, man. This chick's a goof troop, yo. She is straight up. You know, and they keep I'm tired of these Democrats. It's the same lie over and over. They're going to do this, they're going to do it, but they're not, though. But that's what they're going to do. Okay, so needless to say, you know, the Republicans just passed their bill, right? Their spending package, whatnot. Do you know this woman had the nerve to be sitting out there talking about they need us and they need this? You don't even know how your own job operates? Y'all better stop listening to
But
we're
this
in the minority. But so long as we stand strong and not one Democrat falters, let me tell you, there are going to be Republicans that don't want to vote for this, and they can't lose more than one vote. So long as we stand together and so long as we're here, and the Republicans, they're dysfunctional. They can't get this done by themselves.
Is this a preview to how Democrats will message leading up to 2026? Saying fuck off. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And here was her a little earlier today.
Instead, we're pushing conspiracy theories, and some of them are killing people. It's the same thing that we have coming out of Doge. It's the reason that people are dying. It's the reason that farmers are losing their farms, because we continue to peddle conspiracy theories. It is time for us to say, Mr. President, guess what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Can we at least agree on that one? Facts matter. Y'all, this is literally potentially putting us into an international crisis. We may be heading towards the next world war because we have a president that wants to pal around with Putin and wants to do everything to make him feel good, including lying about who invaded who.
Okay. For all of you Democrat lovers and shills and whatnot, because you guys just listen to these liars and you did not do your due diligence about this issue with Ukraine, why most of us foundational Black Americans sat this one out, is because there is a treaty that the UN will never admit Ukraine. What was Joe Biden doing? Oh, he's over there proposing the UN to admit Ukraine. That is breaking a treaty. What is America widely known for when it comes down to treaties, Jasmine? The Native Americans can mention they break them. And then, foundational Black Americans through the natives and through the government can say, yeah, they most definitely break them. And then the natives also broke that too. But we're saying that these are truce breakers, like the Bible says, truce breakers. That's what these people are, truce breakers. They break their truces. And in this case, because of this chemical plant, allegedly, that America was funding right at the border of Ukraine and Russia, while using that and also putting in the work to try to get them admitted into the UN. It breaks the treaty, and so henceforth, Putin had to do what he had to do. So had America not intervened, like that, we never should have been in this war. There's TV shows talking about this. There's an old NCIS, they make you pay for that too, but there's an old NCIS LA episode talking about how this works. And they, in that particular show, also talked about the logistics of what was going on. So because of the treaty, Ukraine can't be part, but you're using all of these other agitators to force an issue. So which will cause Russia to go to war with Ukraine. This was literally in a TV show. And the conclusion about trying to avoid this conflict was America would be dragged into a war Ukraine can't win. For any of my NCIS LA fans, please put that in the chat or put that in the comments. Go ahead and leave that link in the comments if you can. If you guys know what that said, leave that or the title of that particular episode. If you know what I'm talking about, because some of y'all might be more avid NCIS fans than myself, but that's when I'll never forget seeing that. I'm like, damn, because it was a rerun. And I'm like, wow, they literally talk about this right now. And this is going on. So the part was about the treaty. And that part that you cannot break is exactly what Joe Biden did. So the fact that she keeps trying to sell Black folks on this, no, America's in the wrong on this. So what Trump is doing, it's not a pal around thing. America doesn't need to be in another world war. And you most definitely don't need to do it by breaking your own truce. So if the president is going over there, that is repairing a relationship that was almost driven into a conflict where lives are lost and costs buku trillions or billions because we didn't honor what was already in place. And that is the nature of that administration, because with them, men or women, there's 175 genders. You only can locate 2. And they tell you all other kind of things. Oh, we got a Supreme Court justice that is supposedly to be so great and smart, but can't identify what a woman is while being one. I don't want that administration around at all no more. That is disastrous and it's dangerous. So good riddance, man. I'm glad that they, and Jasmine Crockett is the last little lightning rod, and they're going to fail miserably with that. And good. And you haven't had my stance on reparations. Who cares? Because we don't even know if you're a foundational Black American, Jasmine Crockett. And at the end of the day, you're only advocating for what Democrats want, not what Black America wants. So with that being said, moving on to the last story of the night. Coming back to my city, Portland, Oregon. One of our great scholars right here, from here, the city, hailing from the city of Portland, Oregon. Some of you might know her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. Might have seen her on Hidden Colors with her brother Tariq Nasheed. Tonight, I got a clip of her talking about the Statue of Liberty.
Right, because I wanted to know a couple of things. I wanted to know if they were going to first talk about the chains unasked, because I had asked about the chains. And I was assigned with my little group. This is 2013, 2014. I go back, and I want to know if they've actually changed that. And my third visit, I go back and I have a great ranger. The ranger not only tells the story of the chains, turns to me and says, "This is American history I'm sharing. It is your history, and it is my history, and I am proud to tell the story." It's a white ranger, right? So I'm thinking, great, this is wonderful. And the next thing I know, well, on the second visit, I had seen the picture displayed and all that was great. But then in 2019, May 23rd, the Washington Post, they now have a museum that wasn't there. And they have a huge museum now at the Statue of Liberty. And it says the Statue of Liberty was designed to celebrate freed slaves, not immigrants. Its new museum now recounts. And it goes on to explain that the immigration came later.
Right.
Years later it came. It was literally commissioned to celebrate the end of slavery. But when Black people walk through, you hear white people say, "Oh, well, my great-great and my great-great." But Black men, women, and children feel no connection to Lady Liberty.
Come on.
But how much prouder would they be if they knew that their ancestors that didn't come through Ellis Island, that came chained together in the belly of ships, that she was standing on those shackles? How much prouder would those young people be? How much honor would they display in understanding who paid for them?
Yeah.
You erased the chains, you erased me. So why don't we show the chains? And that was the whole point, because you see, once you show the chains, you've got to explain them.
You got to explain
And do
them.
you understand every Black man, woman, and child can literally say, "Oh no, that's mine.
That's mine."
Salute to our good sister, Dr. Joy DeGruy. PDX in the house. And it just reminds me of, what she just laid out, which is very heavy, and it also undergirds the argument of reparations. I recall an idiot questioning Dr. Joy DeGruy on X not too long ago. Actually showed a screenshot and saying, "Has Dr. Joy DeGruy went out there on social media and said anything about reparations?" No, because she's not addicted to social media like you. She actually does the work versus having to get and play co-host. Anyway. This is real content creation over here, folks. We don't have to bite anybody. We don't have to steal from anyone. We don't have to follow people from burner accounts just to get talking points. Oh, there's some of you out there I know. Don't think I don't know. Oh yeah, I know. I know who he is. But anyway, I want to talk about this Statue of Liberty. So you go ahead and, I'm sure I'll hear people talking about this afterwards. because you weren't talking about it before. But, let's go ahead and do that. So, in conclusion this evening, we are talking about the real FBA history of the Statue of Liberty. This comes from the National Park Service. It's just like she was talking about. The statue's shackles and feet. And that's what you see, the big shackle right there on the screen. So in 1866, the Statue of Liberty was a symbol of democratic government and Enlightenment ideals, as well as a celebration of the Union's victory in the American Civil War and the abolition of slavery. See, it has nothing to do about immigrants right there. You see, it's just one group there, just one. As an abolitionist, wait. Let me go back for no. Let's see. The Edouard Le Bouillier, the French political thinker, U.S. Constitution expert, and abolitionist, who first proposed the idea of a great monument as a gift from France to the United States, was a firm supporter of President Abraham Lincoln in his fight for abolition. Le Bouillier saw abolition not only as a way to eliminate immorality, but also as a way to protest repressive tendencies in France. As an abolitionist, Le Bouillier was an honorary member of the Philadelphia branch, founded in 1862, of the Urban League Club. He was made an honorary member. Why? Because he was a black Frenchman. There was no flat blackness right then. Funny how things change, isn't it? The Union League Club was a group of people. Yeah, the Union League Club was a group of people who were dedicated to the Republican Party. The Union's cause, in the Civil War, and the abolition of slavery. Additionally, Le Bouillier was a confounder and president of the French Anti-Slavery Society. This society was founded in 1865. In essence, it called upon all nations to abolish slavery. Additionally, the members also raised money that was given to newly freed slaves in the United States. Additionally, the members also raised money that was then given to newly freed slaves in the United States, when the government itself that allowed that to go on still to this day hasn't done so. With the abolition of slavery and the Union's victory in the Civil War in 1865, Le Boulillier's wishes of freedom and democracy were turning into a reality in the United States. In order to honor these achievements, Le Boulillier proposed that a gift be built for the United States on behalf of France. Le Boulillier hoped that by calling attention to the recent achievements of the United States, the French people would be inspired to call for their own democracy in the face of a reprehensive monarchy. When Le Boulillier's Statue of Liberty enlightening the world was completed, it not only represented democracy, but it also symbolized American independence and the end of all types of servitude and oppression. A broken shackle and chain lie at the statue's right foot. The chain disappears beneath the draperies, only to reappear in front of her left foot. Its end link broken. However, although the broken shackle is a powerful image, the meaning behind it was not yet a reality for African Americans in 1886. After the statue's dedication in 1886, 1886, mind you, 1886, the black press began to debunk romantic notions of the Statue of Liberty and American history. Racism and discrimination towards African Americans did not end after the Civil War or with the dedication of the statue. It continued on for more than a century. As a result, the statue was not a symbol of democratic government or Enlightenment ideals for African Americans, but rather a source of pain. But then actually did later on serve as a beacon for the white peasants that Martin Luther King talked about who came here for that Homestead Act. Go figure. So as a result, the statute was not pain. Instead of representing freedom and justice for all, the statue emphasized the bitter ironies of America's professed identity as a just and free society for all people, regardless of race. From the time of the statue's dedication, attitudes towards the statue in the African American community were ambivalent and uncertain. Rightfully so. As W.E.B. Du Bois wrote in his autobiography, the autobiography of W.E.B. Du Bois, a soliloquy on viewing my life from the last decade of the first century, its first century, he was unable to imagine the same sense of hope he assumed some immigrant arrivals had felt when he sailed past the statue. W.E.B. Du Bois was actually speaking of a cultural divide. We're going to feel it totally different. You know, when they talk about division, there's a cultural divide right there. That's where it is. Not based on we don't like you where you came from. You don't understand the meaning. To us. Because it means something completely different to you. That's deep. That is hella deep. Let's see. Since assuming arrivals felt when he sailed past the statue on a return trip from Europe. This hope did not pertain to his race. The fight for equality, liberty, and justice for all at this point in time had not been achieved, but rather disregarded after the statue's completion and dedication. Therefore, African Americans rarely used the statue as a relevant symbol for their struggle. They were reluctant to embrace the symbol of a nation which would not fully include them as citizens. The Statue of Liberty did not help them to gain equality and justice in the truest sense. It was only the beginning. And I would agree. It was only the beginning. And rightfully so. You know, this is a shackle. That is a shackle of an enslaved foot. Not an immigrant. There's no comparison. That is only one group. And only one group should be getting recognized when talking about this. This isn't xenophobic. There's a monument to one group. Even if the country didn't treat us according to this monument. This is a testament to our position here. We are foundational Black America. Freedmen. As an Israelite, I'll say we are also the tribe of Yehuda. For those who don't know, Judah. Right now, we even have the Hebrews to Negroes guy. He's flipped on his Pan-African switch, and now everybody is African. But nobody's talking about these shackles at Lady Liberty's feet, which symbolizes only one group's freedom. But it also symbolizes that group's oppression. So are we going to attack history to get rid of the Statue of Liberty? Like we're talking about books and Black history in America. Those shackles represent our history in America. Or what are we going to do about Lady Liberty now? Is Lady Liberty DEI? Is Lady Liberty going to make young kids feel inadequate and cry because they believe they're inherently racist? Is that what's going to happen now? Because that is a huge symbol. That's a big-ass statue. But you mean to tell me that hearing about Black history would be a little harsher? Well, then we need to make sure we tell this history. But this is a history. This is from the National Park Services. This isn't fake history. It's just reality. It's not a agenda-laden history. It's just history. American history at that. And because it's American history, this big old statue right here means that we were here before that statue. Most of your people that come at talking mess to us, that statue didn't exist because we were still in chains. That is why.
It's a cultural divide. I'm going to get it on the flow. You really got to do it. 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
Babylon is falling. Babylon is falling. Let it fall and let us rise. Can you dig it? Hope you guys really enjoyed tonight's broadcast. I know I did. I wanted to get into this piece. Shout out to Dr. Joy DeGrew for her recent appearance talking about the Statue of Liberty, and I wanted to make sure I got that piece in. This will probably be the last live broadcast before the end of the month. So celebrating Foundational Black American Freedmen History Month right here on the Beatzilla PDX official show is what we wanted to do about this Lady Liberty story and all of these other stories with all of these people trying to come in our midst with these tether waves. And this is why it is a cultural divide. And it's about that 40 acres and a mule for that one group. There's no question about who needs it. There's the Statue of Liberty that gives you all the answers you need of who's eligible for reparations. The descendants of those who were enslaved with those shackles that statue represents. If you can't understand that, I speak for myself. Beatzilla PDX official, Beatzilla PDX official show. Those of you in the chat, the grassroots, and the voices of new Black media. I absolutely believe I am safe to say I speak for all parties involved when we proudly dedicate this song to you.
Get up off of that cocaine and get up off of that crack. Get yourself together and get your mind back.
Hashtag hands off our reparations.
You have no rights here. We're not under the empire.
Yes, indeed. Family, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at beatzillapdx. You can email me at ourrealtruth@gmail.com. And if you feel so inclined to put some money in the bucket, you can do so by way of CashApp. That's $beatzillapdx. We also have PayPal, which is Zilla Muzak. That is ZILLAMUZAK at PayPal. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Share this out if you have not already done so already. If you're watching the replay, make sure you comment. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought here. And, last but not least, man, if you are in this country here illegally, well, from us to you, hashtag fire up the jet. All right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Family, good to be back. Be back in action. I'm still not 100%, but I'm better than what I was. That is for certain. No, I didn't ask you for nothing. Funny. But family, make sure you have your notification bells on and make sure you go subscribe to the new channel, Zilla Perspectives. I will be having some more stuff going up there this week. So make sure you get over there to the Zilla Perspectives channel, Zilla Perspectives. So thank everybody for tuning in there, and thank you everybody for tuning in here. So as we are getting out of here, family, always remember this.
It's a cultural divide. I'm going to get it on the flow. You really got to do it. 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
Enjoy, Reed. Y'all, stay black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first, black first, black first. Shalom, y'all. Have a blessed one.
When you know who Satan is, yes, sir, you don't have to kill him. No. The stone of truth. Yes. See, that's what you throw. Yes, right. Allah says, had we wished to take a pastime from before, surely we would have done it. Nay, we cast truth at falsehood till we knock out its brains. Every one of you that knows the truth, stand up and tell it from the mountaintop. Black people can't take it no more. So wherever you are on the job, in the factory, I don't care where you are. If you know the truth, stand up on the truth and tell Satan, who the hell are you to try and pick my friends? Farrakhan is God's man, and you are from the enemy of God. So to hell with you. Stand up on it like a man.